This is Kaname Sudu, a high school student. He receives an invitation from a classmate named Hamada to participate in Darwin's game, a mobile game he is unfamiliar with. Despite the fact that his classmate Kyoto aggressively advises him not to open the app, he accepts the invitation and begins the game. A green snake suddenly pops out from his phone screen and bites his neck, leaving him unconscious, waking up in the infirmary without any signs of a snake bite. However, he ignores the snake as a hallucination and wants to return home to rest up. Kyoto warns him once again not to open the game app. However, on his way home, his curiosity overcomes him, and he opens the application once again. He starts the game and accepts Bandicoon's challenge to fight in battle. A man in a panda suit appeared out of nowhere and started to approach him slowly. Bandicoon starts to attack, but Kaname avoids it. He manages to defend himself and makes his escape through the city. Bandicoon chases him relentlessly. Arrived at a police officer to inform about the panda, but even a police officer was incapable of stopping him. Kaname is shocked by what happened, leaving him paralyzed. When Kyoto appears and saves Kaname, Bandicoon suddenly disappeared. However, Bandicoon severely injures him in the attempt to save Kaname. Despite Kyoto's wound, he and Kaname were able to escape and hide in a parking lot. Kaname would have called an ambulance, but Kyoto stopped him because it's pointless. During the game, the only connection to the outside world is the app itself. Kaname now realizes that this is not a normal smartphone game. The stakes are life or death, and it is a real-life game from which there is no way out. Kyoto reveals why the Bandicoon suddenly disappeared, using superpowers called Sigil, which all players possess. Kaname soon realizes there is no use hiding from Bandicoon, because their enemy can find their location using the app. They come to the conclusion that Kaname needs to leave the injured. In order to lure the panda away from him, Kyoto stayed behind. He defends himself from Bandicoon's attacks in close combat, but eventually he doesn't seem to stand a chance against him. When Kaname's invisible opponent is suddenly struck by a car, the battle abruptly ends, and in Kaname's victory, Bandicoon's lifeless body is teleported one piece at a time, leaving nothing more than a pixelated outline behind. While returning to his friend Kyoto, Kaname only finds another pixel outline. Kaname is familiar with these pixel outlines. People have been mistaking them for contemporary street art since they started to appear all over the city recently, but Kaname now realizes the truth. They are the remains of people who were defeated after Darwin's battle. When his phone rang, he received Kyoto's final message before his death. When high-ranking player Karino Shuka discovers that Kaname defeated Bandicoon, she is surprised that the rookies defeated such a difficult opponent. She invites Kaname to an abandoned warehouse because she wants to get to know him, but Shuka is skeptical of his trustworthiness and asks him to reveal his sigil. When Kaname is unable to respond, Shuka becomes suspicious and challenges Kaname to a battle. Kaname uses a flashing light to temporarily blind Shuka in order to escape her attack. However, even Shuka's blind attacks are extremely powerful, and Kaname recognizes her sigil. She can manipulate large chains and snake-like motions with sigil, stabbing her opponents with the pointed ends. Kaname hears a voice inside of him as he struggles to escape the chains, and this finally helps him discover his sigil. Any weapon he has ever touched can be summoned. A gun that was previously delivered to his home. Now suddenly it shows up in his hand, and he uses it to restrain Shuka. Shuka has no choice but to accept defeat. Kaname sighs in relief before passing out. Kaname awakens the following morning in Shuka's bed. She asks that they form a clan together. Kaname accepts because teaming up is a common strategy used by players in Darwin's game to battle together, defend one another, and score points collectively. However, when Kaname learns that he must first level up beyond fighting Class B2, an excellent opportunity to level up presents itself. Soon after that, Kaname is surprised when he checks the balance of his account at the ATM. The points he has earned are added to his bank account as actual money. Not only as a score in the game, he gets a strange invitation in the game. Shibuya is the location of a treasure hunt that some chosen participants are permitted to take part in. Before the event begins, Kaname and Shuka decide it would be smart to tour Shibuya. While there, Shuka gives Kaname important information about Darwin's game, or D-game as they refer to it in the public, in order to maintain its secret. In the Shibuya shopping center, Kaname's phone is suddenly snatched away by Inuka, who uses it to lure him into a dead-end road and make a challenge to fight. Through the intel he obtained from the player known as Rain Kashiwagi, called the Analyst, Inuka was able to locate Kaname. Rain is able to support herself in the game by gathering and selling useful information. Since rumors that the newcomer Kaname had defeated both the rookie killer Bandicoon and the undefeated Queen Shuka had already spread, he made an interesting target for Inuka. But Inuka's attack on Kaname only results in a short battle before Shuka arrives to his rescue. Forcing Inuka to give up, the treasure hunt starts suddenly. As the players are divided up into different locations, Kaname finds himself in a hotel room and receives information about the treasure hunt. The goal of the 300 participants is to gather at least 3 golden rings each player within 24 hours. During this event, that player search doesn't work, but there's a problem. There are only 300 rings in total. Using the camera on his phone, he can locate the location of rings. Kaname immediately discovers his first ring under the bed. He begins to summon his weapon in order to protect himself. He heard someone come out of the elevator. A player with a machine gun. He used his phone to locate the ring and start attacking Kaname. He ran until he got caught, in exchange for sparing Kaname's life. He gives his opponent his ring and leaves through the elevator. Kaname intended to use the elevator to exit the building. The analyst suddenly appeared and warned him not to use the elevator. As the elevator doors open, Kaname learns the reason for Rain's warning. The machine gun attacker from earlier is now laying lifeless on the ground, under the grip of a huge plant. Rain quickly recognizes the skilled player's work. He is using sigil power to trap every player inside the building. Kaname and Rain are trying to find a way out of the hotel. They stumble onto a corpse mark and realize, why was the body of the attacker in the elevator still there and not turned into a pixel outline? They were suddenly attacked by a group of players. These players don't seem to have killed by the plants. Rain analyzes the situation. She believes that the florist must be in control of them. Using her sigil known as Laplas, she has the ability to analyze all information and seeing the past and the future. She comes to the conclusion that the florist must be in the surveillance room, watching them through the surveillance cameras. As he sends his mind-controlled soldiers after them, Kaname and Rain then destroy the security cameras and hide in a hotel room to make a plan. To avoid the plants inside the building, Kaname climbs down using a fire hose of the tower and meets the florist on the ground floor, who is prepared to confront Kaname and transforms into a powerful plant beast. He throws him with grenades. Kaname does everything he can to defeat the florist. He shoots him with his machine gun and uses stun grenades to blind him. But it appears that the florist is too powerful, and the fight between the two finally ends in the hotel chapel. Despite his exhaustion, Kaname's inner voice starts to speak to him again, and then all of a sudden he finds himself in the steelsmith's workshop. After seeing this vision, he realizes how to destroy his armor. He increases the gun's barrel pressure to make the shot stronger. This proves to be extremely effective. The florist accepted his defeat. When Rain reaches the chapel, she explains that there is a serious threat. The 8th clan and their bloodthirsty leader named Wang are about to storm the hotel to collect the 24 rings located there. Because of this prediction, they decide to join forces with the florist to create a temporary clan. Now the florist's mind control was removed. The earlier machine gun opponent of Kaname also regains his senses. The man named Ryuji Misaka agrees to also become a member of the clan. The now 4 clan members considered barricading the hotel to be as ready as possible for the 8th clan attack. Meanwhile, Rain is puzzled by the prices of the various gemstones on the rings. She notices QR codes inside the rings that represent further number combinations. She realizes that this must be the key to winning the game, and the diamond ring that nobody has yet found must be the final piece of the puzzle. Meanwhile, Shuka is still searching for Kaname. She kills everybody who stands in her way as she swings through the city. As she walks through an underground station, she is suddenly attacked by a little girl who successfully blocks her chain attacks with an ice wall, before eventually filling the room with water. Before drowning, Shuka sends out a call for help. Ryuji and Kaname immediately left to save Shuka. They encounter Sui at the subway station, who acts as an innocent, scared young child. Kaname immediately jumps into the water and dives for Shuka, who is unconscious and laying on the ground. He brings her to the surface and performs mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on her. As Shuka regains her consciousness, she is grateful to Kaname for saving his life and giving him a proper first kiss. Meanwhile, Ryuji is still guarding Sui. With the help of his sigil, he knows Sui is lying and is curious to learn the truth about what happened in the station. However, Sui runs away from Ryuji, and when she is in danger, her split personality appears. Her body is taken over by the spirit of her late twin brother Soda, who prepared to use violent force. They lure Ryuji to a convenience store and use ice to capture him. Soda wants to kill Ryuji, but Sui is able to stop him. When Shuka and Kaname arrive at the convenience store together, Shuka is grateful of Sui for bringing her and Kaname closer together, and they recruit Sui into their clan. The hotel is raided by the 8th clan. The clan uses force to break through the plant barricades and pushes further into the hotel. Haragi the florist encountered Sig, one of the powerful players, who is stronger than him, but shortly after, Keiichi appears and fatally hurts Hiragi. Hiragi uses all of his last strength to keep his heart beating by using his sigil plants. And his last attack is to destroy the whole building, bury them alive, finally cause it to shake and collapse. In the meantime, Rain has figured out the puzzle with the ring's numerical codes, after obtaining a diamond ring and organizing the stones. According to their hardness, she recognizes the coordinates, leading her toward the Shibuya train station. She went there in search of the treasure, but immediately learns that she is not the only one figured out the code. Wang also seems to have cracked the code, and the 8th clan is already at the station. Wang teleports using his sigil in a way that Rain's Laplas is unable to predict, and manages to catch her by way of his stronghold on her arm. He tries to get her to confess details about the treasure. She uses a long story to buy time, and sure enough, finally, her clan arrives and releases Rain from Wang's grip, while Kaname takes the injured Rain to a secure location where she is charged with cracking the game's final code. Ryuji, Shuka, and Sui bravely battle the 8th clan. After digging deeper with mind, Rain has found the answer. The code shows the publishing date of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. When Kaname returns to help his friends fight the 8th clan, Wang has already cut Ryuji's arm and is on the verge of killing him. However, Kaname able to stop him with a scheme. He declares that he has found the treasure's key and solved the riddle. The bluff works and Kaname throw the key to Wang in return for Eugene's life. However, Kaname has cracked the real code and enters the combination of digits at the station's lockers quickly. This brings the treasure hunt to an abrupt end and the players are transferred. Kaname opens the box from the locker and finds a mobile phone inside. The phone rings, and the game master congratulates Kaname for winning. He explains him that in addition to the numerous points he has already earned, the game master giving him a unique privilege within the Darwin's game. Kaname asked the game master that he want to quit the game, but it's against the rule of the game. The game master giving him 2 ways to quit the Darwin's game. First is by completing the Darwin's game. Second, killing the game master and completely destroying Darwin's game's system. 2 months after, in the Danjo Boxing Club, Ryuji has been healed by Kaide, and Kaname is trained by the coaches. Master Danjo expresses his desire to work with the clan of Kaname, who have named themselves the Sunset Ravens. But first Danjo needs Kaname to prove his worth by defeating him in a fight. Danjo and Kaname are engaging in a hard-fought battle with Inuka as the referee, and Rain and Ryuji are watching. However, Danjo eventually decides Kaname is worthy. He recognizes Kaname as an equal alliance partners. Suddenly a mysterious masked woman appears and kidnapped Kaname. The woman turns out to be Liu Su-lan, the first-placed player of the Darwin's game, who comes from a family of assassins. She had seen potential in Kaname, and now she considered of him as the perfect partner to have children with and pass their knowledge and skill to the next generation. Shuka is outraged by the kidnapping of Kaname. They chase Su-lan's car together. Rain tried to shoot the tires, but is bulletproof, and Shuka launches an attack on Su-lan from the roof of her. But Shuka's attack appears useless until Kaname intervenes. He throws bottles to her. Shuka uses her chains to direct them onto the tires of Su-lan's car, and soda freezes the liquid inside the bottles, therefore stopping the wheels. Upon admitting defeat, Su-lan declares her plan to join with the Sunset Ravens clan, even though the clan members objected strongly, but Kaname agree. Meanwhile, the 8th clan is now planning their revenge for Kaname. They kidnapped Kaname's classmate Shinuzuka and brutally tortured in order to lure him to an abandoned warehouse. Kaname gets furious and rushes to rescue his friend, supported by the Sunset Ravens and Inuka. Before the clan arrives at the warehouses, a group of police are lined up and ready to raid the warehouse. But the 8th clan massacre the entire task force with no effort. When the Kaname group arrives, they separated up right away to fight the 8th clan. Inuka fights the martial artist Keiichi, and Sui and Rain joined forces against the attackers. Then Kaname and Ryuji immediately enter the warehouse to save Shinuzuka. When Kaname discovers that Shinuzuka has been killed, something changes in him. Now with Hamada, Kyoto, and Shinuzuka, 3 of his classmates have been killed in this game. Breaking his own rules of not causing harm to other people, he decides that killing the 8th clan is his only remaining option. Kaname pushes forward, killing everyone in his path. Meanwhile, Shuka fights Wang by himself. She has strung small wires all through the entire warehouse, which she can manipulate with her sigil's vibrations while barely moving herself. She effectively counters Wang's attacks, cutting off his limbs in the process. Finally, she catches Wang in the wire net, and he tries to escape by teleporting in the air with his sigil. To prevent a fatal impact, Wang uses his sigil just in time. But Kaname and Ryuji are already standing in front of him, pointing their weapons. Kaname now reveals his granted privilege to Wang. He's a high roller who bet everything in the fight against the clan. As a result, the opponents have lost the game and all of a clan's points have been transferred to the Sunset Ravens account. The remaining 8 members have now been transferred, including Wang, still blathered until the very end, who Kaname shoots in the head as a last farewell. The battle with the 8th is finally over. But Kaname swears revenge against the game masters. He wants to put an end to this game forever, and his clan agrees to help and support him in this venture. The now Sunset Ravens take over control of Shibuya and declare it a D-game-free zone. On the other side, the game master is thrilled about developments. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.